morning, class of 22. This is Mr. Randall. I just wanted to bring you some insights into the SAT that you're going to be taking next week. If you would follow along, there may be some things that you know, but I'm also going to try to give you some insights and things that you might not realize about the test. So let's go ahead and get started. The SAT has 4 sections. You have 2 math sections, one with a calculator, one without. The math score combines to be a score between 200 and 800 points. The reading and writing section is 2 sections. One reading, one writing and language. That's also 200 and 800 points. The essay is optional. We will not be giving the essay at the school administration. So your total score will be somewhere between 400 points and 1,600 points when you get that score back. But on test day, it's going to go in a certain order. It always has to go in the same order. The first thing you will do is reading. In reading, you will have 5 passages. It will take you 65 minutes. There are 3 passages with 10 questions, 2 passages with 11 questions. So that's 52 total questions. And the passages always go in the same order. Literature is first, social studies is second, science is third, another social studies, and then another science. Why is that important, Mr. Randall? I'm so glad you asked me. Because you don't necessarily have to do the passages in order. If you know that you like social studies best, do the second and fourth passages first, and then go back and do the literature and the science passages. It's up to what you like, and it's up to how you read best. After you do the reading passages, you are going to take a break. It'll be about 10 minutes, and in that break, you will be asked to sign some things on your answer sheet saying that you are taking this test and you are who you are, and that's about it. Then after that, you'll start writing in language. Writing in language will be 44 questions, 4 passages, 11 questions per passage, and you'll have 35 minutes to do it. Most of the questions, will be grammar and mechanics, meaning where do you put a comma? Should this be a comma or a period? It might be word choice. Which word fits? Is it which pronoun matches the antecedent? Which verb tense is correct for the sentence? And then there will be some questions that are more reading comprehension in nature. And after you do that, after those 35 minutes, you will go to section 3, which is math without a calculator. There will be 15 multiple choice questions and 5 grid-in questions for a total of 25 questions. And you'll have, for a total of 20 questions, and you'll have 25 minutes to do it in. And then you'll take another break. This will be your last break before you finish, because your last section, your 4th section, is 38 questions, 30 of which are multiple choice, and you will have 55 minutes to do that. Why do I explain that? Why is that important? I think that's important because if you look at the entirety of it, you have 65 minutes for the first section, 35 minutes for the second section, 25 minutes for the third section, and then 55. If you add all of those up, you get 180 minutes, or 3 hours. So you will be testing for 3 hours. It's a 3-hour test, not including the breaks. So please, you need to be prepared mentally and physically for that. The test doesn't end early. There's no way to finish it early. It is a 3-hour test. So that's one of my first major points. Second thing I want to talk about is how is that score come up with? Last year, Langston's average SAT score of all the class of 2021 was an 870. And so it was 870 total. And of that 870, 460 was verbal and 410 was math. How did they come up with that 460 verbal? Now I'm making one quick assumption here, and that assumption is the reading and the writing and language were about the same. But to get a 23 in reading, 230 points in reading, Means they got 23 reading questions right. To get, there it goes, to get the 23 in writing and language, that means they got 21 writing and language questions right. Doesn't say which questions. It doesn't say whether they're grammar or reading comprehension style. It doesn't say whether they're verbs or pronouns. It's just 21 questions. And then to get the 410 in math, they got somewhere between 14 and 15 questions right. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and tell them they got 15. Right? So that's how many questions they got correct. The main point here is it doesn't say which questions. All of the questions are worth the same amount, right? And so for all of the multiple choice questions, out of the 52 multiple choice questions, they missed 29, but some of those they missed because a lot of people left things blank. What you cannot afford to do on the SAT is leave any multiple choice question blank. You have to answer every question. So at 5 minutes left or at 3 minutes left, make sure all of your questions, multiple choice questions, are answered. I don't care if you've read the passage, it needs to be answered. I don't care if you read the sentence, it needs to be answered. I don't care if you know what the math problem is, it needs to be answered. Do not leave it blank. Okay? So let me show you why that's important. Okay, let's take, well, we talked about this, let's go on. The second thing I need to show is going to show why that's important. And that's the point I want to make, is that you should test to make a good score, not test to finish the test. And there's a difference. And a big difference comes in because it is much more important to be accurate in what you do than it is to be fast and to finish everything. I'll say that again. It's much more important to get things right, to be accurate, than it is to finish everything. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how. Let's say, and I'm going to give you this example through reading. There are 52 questions in reading over 5 passages. And let's say that we are working so hard to make sure we get everything right that in that 65 minutes, it feels like I'm going slow. It feels like I'm going slow. I only get through 2 passages. I didn't get through all 3. I want to get through 2. And in the first passage, which had 10 questions, though, because I took my time, I got 9 of those questions right. And in the second passage, which had 11 questions, again, because I took my time, I only missed 1. I got 10 questions right. So I have a total of 19 questions. Well, the average from the school was 21 questions, I think. No, it was 15. Oh, the average was, no, it was 23 questions in reading, right? So I'm still not quite there. But that's okay. Because if I'm not leaving anything blank, then I might still do better. I'm going to show you also. You need to make sure you don't guess using designs. What do you mean by that, Mr. Randall? I'm so glad you asked me. I'm going to show you. A lot of times when we guess, what I've seen on multiple choice tests is that when scholars guess, they kind of, if I'm starting at number 22, they kind of start making little designs. I'm going to go A, B, C, D, B, C, A, B, C, D. I'm going to just make it pretty because I'm not leaving it blank, but I'm going to just make it pretty. And the point I want to make is that is not a good way to do it. If you are going to guess, please, I implore you, make sure that when you start guessing, you pick one letter. I'm going to pick B. And every question that I'm guessing on from 22 on, I'm going to put B straight down the line, all the way down my answer sheet. It should be exactly the same question, the same answer. Because mathematically, that's your best chance to get the most points. So let's see. At this point, we already had 19 questions right. And we started on question 22, and we answered B. So how many more, oh shoot, I didn't get any here, but 27, 28, oh, there's one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, it starts to even out. B, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 8 more questions I got. So now I have 27 questions in reading. So instead of having 230 points in reading, now that I have 27 questions, I have 250 points. So I have added 20 points to my score just by being accurate. Now, that's not saying that I only want you to do 2 passages. I want you to do as many as you can, but I want you to be accurate while you're doing them. That's the important thing. Okay? Now, one more point, and then I'm done. And that last point is that you need to know your opponent. You need to know your test. And I'm going to talk about that through the math section. The math section has 2 different parts. The non-calculator math section is, for the most part, all 20 of those questions are going to be algebra. You may have 1 or 2 geometry. You're only going to have 4 geometry in the whole test. But most of it's going to be algebra. There will be no problem solving, none of that in the non-calculator section. All of the problem solving will be in the calculator section because they assume that you need a calculator for it, which means you need to bring your calculator, right? But be prepared for that. Know how to use your calculator. But in saying that, you have to make sure you bring a calculator. Langston Hughes High School is not providing calculators for scholars. Let me say that again. Langston Hughes High School is not providing calculators for scholars. So, to sum up, I wanted to make this quick, but to sum up, a few major points. Leave nothing blank. There's no penalty for wrong answers. Make sure you answer every multiple choice question. Accuracy is better than speed. If you're accurate, you'll get a higher score than if you just rush to finish. Make sure that the answers you put down, as many as possible, are correct. But don't leave the other ones blank. So you're testing to make a score, not to finish the test. Don't guess using designs. Guess with 1 letter. Pick your letter of the day. It might be C, it might be A, B, or D, but that's the letter you use going down the whole way. Okay? Know your opponent. Know what to expect. And then make sure you bring your calculator and know how to use your calculator. Okay? If you follow those 6 points, and if you have a better insight to the test, hopefully we'll make a better score. So, and my final 3 words for this are these. Let's do this. Let's do this, class of 22. Let's kill this test. Let's do what we need to do. Thank you for your time. If you have any other questions, you know where I live. I'm down in 418, and I hope to see you, and we will see this work. Thank you very much. Goodbye.